In this video, we're going to talk about getting things done. Now, I kicked off 2021 rather unoriginally by talking about the importance of goal setting and really about how you can reverse engineer them in order to be able to get the actionable activities that you can do every day or week in order to achieve them. But the whole process still requires a lot of organisation. When you're actually coming up with your goals, brainstorming them, then it's a really creative act. You can daydream, you can speculate, you can write things down and you can tear them up. And actually making something, whether or not that's a mood board or whatever, actually helps give you a tactile relationship as well as an intellectual one with what your ambitions are. But in my actual day-to-day activities, I don't want to brainstorm. I want to know what I'm doing and when I'm doing it and making it as frictionless as possible. Now, a great book on this subject that I'd recommend is Getting Things Done by David Allen. In it, he says our minds aren't really designed for storing ideas, but are mainly for creativity and inspiration. David Allen is very much an advocate of being in the moment as much as possible, which is actually a very actorly concept of having your concentration fully focused on one thing. And it's from that you actually get a sense of flow, of ease, because you are so fully focused on the one thing rather than dispersing your energy across multiple things and not being able to really resolve or progress any of them. And so he has a system. In short, he first suggests that you collect all of your ideas up somewhere, and quite often that would most typically be in a to-do list, but you could also use an app on your phone. Then, after you've collected everything, you need to process these things, which is basically work out what you need to do with them, what would be the next logical step in order to get them done. Then you need to organize them, and that means you need to kind of set different priorities for them, different time frames, but also kind of locate which are my personal tasks, which are my professional tasks, and maybe even, are they computer-based tasks? Are they filming tasks? Are they house or life admin tasks? That kind of thing, so that they're clearly in different areas. And then finally, you need a review system, so you can check where you stand with all of these different things on a daily, weekly or monthly basis. Now, as I've said before, we actually do part of this process just by making a to-do list. We collect all of the random things that we need to get done. Then you can categorize it, possibly with a lovely colored pen, and then you can mark it for review on your calendar. But where things can get messy and the whole system can start falling apart is when you're not right next to your calendar, or you're right next to your notebook where you have your to-do list all of the time. Or because you're sequentially going through your notebook, you're having to go backwards and forwards through all the other random things that you've pulled, so you never know exactly where you're standing. You can't step back and have that whole overview. I was certainly conscious that when I just had my to-do list, I had to have my notebook by me all of the time, and quite often when I was scrawling in it, things were getting muckier and uglier, and I didn't really know where I was going as a result. Now, a solution that I found is Notion, which is a free piece of software, and specifically a way of using this free piece of software shown by a YouTube channel called Better Creating, run by Simon Pittman. Now, perhaps most importantly, Notion is free software that runs on all of my different systems. So it runs on my MacBook, but also on my iPad and also on my phone, which is the one thing that I do take everywhere with me. With Simon's template in Notion, I had a place where I could collect all my thoughts, process them, but also it was a system that would actively remind me to review things rather than me having to check back in when I could remember to see what I had left to do, which I thought was very important. It reminds me as opposed to me having to actively check. I have an inbox where I put all of my tasks, and I can relate them to bigger projects for future reference, or I can make them one-off events as well. And I can set up reminders that prompt me on a regular basis, whether that's daily, weekly, yearly, whatever, and also via priority. Now, one of the really nice aspects of Notion as software is that it's fully customizable, so you can really make it yours, personalize it. So you can add little icons or backgrounds, and you can even upload images to it if you want. I won't attempt to repeat all of the great content that Simon has in his videos in how to use and how to set up these templates, but I've got a link below and I really urge you to check it out. And even if you're adamant that you don't want to use an online app on your phone or your iPad or anything else like that, then I'd still really recommend checking out David Allen's book, because the core principles are really clear. Stop beating yourself up about not being able to do 10 things simultaneously. Instead, focus on creating a system for yourself where you can collect all your tasks, process them, organise them, and then review them on a consistent basis. And if you can make it fun and creative, then all the better. Just whatever gives you room to breathe. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed it and found it useful in any way, then please do like, comment and subscribe. And do also subscribe to Simon's channel for sure. And I look forward to seeing you next time.